The Vorthon interrogation facility on Kepler 438b was considered impregnable. Its crystalline walls could withstand plasma bombardment, its neural dampeners could break the will of any species in the known galaxy, and its automated security systems had never failed in 3 centuries of operation. Commander Zexthul took pride in these facts as he observed the latest prisoner through the observation deck's reinforced transparasteel. The human sat motionless in cell block 7, his wrists bound with quantum-locked restraints that could hold a charging Rhinox. Staff Sergeant Marcus Chen, according to the captured military records, age 32, from a backwater planet called Earth. Nothing about him seemed particularly threatening. Average height for his species, lean build, unremarkable brown hair, and those peculiar forward-facing eyes that marked humans as predators. "Begin Phase 1, Zexthul commanded, his forearms manipulating the control interface with practiced efficiency. The cell's atmosphere shifted as psychotropic compounds began filtering through the ventilation system. Every species they had tested responded within minutes. Altarians began weeping uncontrollably. Centaurians entered catatonic states, and even the notoriously stubborn Rigelians started confessing their deepest secrets. Sergeant Chen simply closed his eyes and began what appeared to be controlled breathing exercises. Hours passed. The human remained unchanged. "Phase 2, Zexthul ordered, his confidence wavering slightly. Neural disruptors activated, sending waves of electromagnetic interference designed to scramble higher brain functions. The technology had reduced proud Andromedans to babbling infants within an hour. Chen opened his eyes, looked directly at the hidden observation camera, and smiled. "Your neural pattern readings, Commander?" asked Sub-Lieutenant Veltar, her tentacles quivering with nervous energy. "Unchanged," Zexthul muttered, studying the displays. "His brain activity is adapting, compensating for our interference in real time." The interrogation continued for 6 days. Sonic torture that had shattered the psyche of crystal-based life forms barely made the human flinch. Hallucinogenic gases that sent most species into permanent madness seemed to provide him with what their universal translator interpreted as entertainment. Temperature extremes that should have induced hypothermic shock or heat stroke were met with the human's apparent ability to regulate his own body temperature through mental discipline alone. On the 7th day, Chen finally spoke. "Water," he said simply, his voice hoarse but unbroken. "Finally," Zexthul breathed. "He's ready to negotiate." But when they brought the water, Chen didn't drink it. Instead, he studied the container. With the intense focus of a scientist examining a new species, he questioned the guard about the metal composition, the filtration system, even the molecular structure of the facility's water supply. "Curious species, aren't you?" the guard, Trooper Kicksmall, had said with amusement. "You have no idea," Chen replied. Over the following days, Chen's requests became increasingly specific. He wanted to know about the facility's power grid, its atmospheric recycling systems, the quantum mechanics behind his restraints. To Zexthul's confusion, the humans seemed more interested in learning about their technology than in securing his freedom. "He's gathering intelligence," Veltar observed during their daily briefing. "But for what purpose?" They found out on day 14. It started with a minor fluctuation in the power grid, barely noticeable, easily dismissed as routine maintenance variance. Then the atmospheric recyclers began working at 97% efficiency instead of their standard 99.8. The quantum locks on Chen's restraints experienced microsecond delays in their refresh cycles. By day 16, the cumulative effect of these tiny malfunctions had created a cascade failure throughout the facility's systems. "How?" Zexthul demanded as emergency lighting bathed the command center in hellish red. "He's been in isolation the entire time." "Sir," Veltar's voice was barely a whisper, "the human never tried to escape. He studied us. He learned our systems by asking questions, observing our responses, analyzing every interaction. He's been running a psychological operation on the entire facility." The revelation hit Zexthul like a plasma bolt to the chest. Every question Chen had asked, Every curious inquiry about their technology, every seemingly innocent conversation with the guards, it had all been data collection. The human had been mapping their weaknesses, understanding their systems, and somehow exploiting microscopic flaws that their own engineers had never detected. He weaponized his imprisonment, Zexthal realized with dawning horror. The facility's main power core began fluctuating wildly. Security systems triggered false alarms throughout the complex. The quantum locks that held not just Chen, but 36 other high-value prisoners from across the galaxy began failing in sequence. In Cell Block 7, Marcus Chen stood up as his restraints dissolved into quantum static. He stretched muscles that had been locked in place for 16 days, then walked to the cell door as it slid open with a cheerful chime. "Attention, facility personnel." His voice echoed through the emergency communication system that he had somehow accessed. "This is Staff Sergeant Marcus Chen, Terran Defense Corps. Your installation is now under human control. Please proceed to the main hangar bay for processing." As Chen walked calmly through corridors filled with panicking alien guards, he reflected on the irony. They had expected to break him through torture and isolation, never understanding that humans had spent millennia turning their greatest weaknesses into their greatest strengths: curiosity in the face of danger, adaptability under pressure, the ability to find patterns and exploit them. Most importantly, they had failed to grasp the fundamental truth about humanity. They were not a species that broke under pressure. They were a species that broke everything else. By the time Zexthal realized what had happened, 37 prisoners had escaped. The facility's defense systems had been completely compromised, and a human military task force was already approaching the planet, guided by the beacon Chen had somehow constructed. From the facility's own communication array, the last transmission from Kepler 438b was brief. "Command, this is Chen. Package delivered. The door is open. Come on in." The Vorthan interrogation facility had stood for 3 centuries. It took one human 16 days to tear it down from the inside out, and he never once tried to escape his cell.